Hello students, welcome back. This is once again Dr. Mercado speaking, and we are continuing with chapter 2, which deals with computing wages and salaries. Now in this particular lecture, we are going to be going over problem 210A. Now this is a challenging problem and a lot of students have issues with it because they have to use a time card to calculate the number of hours worked, and this time card uses a continental system. Okay, so it says here, Villegas Incorporated recently converted from a 5-day, 40-hour work week to a 4-day, 40-hour work week, with overtime continuing to be paid at 1.5 times the regular hourly rate for all hours worked. So now instead of working 5 days, they're going to work 4 days, but now they're going to be working more hours each day. And the regular hours are going to be still 40, and we're still going to pay time and a half for anything over 40. Okay? So it says, in this company, time is recorded under the continental system as shown on the time card, and I've included the time card. Sue Ellen Boggs is part of the Group B employees whose regular work week is Tuesday through Friday. So she's going to work 10 hours on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That's going to be 4 days of 10-hour shifts. That's going to give her 40 hours per week. Now it says the working hours each day are from 8 to 12. That's 4 hours. From 12:30 to 16:30, that's 4 hours. And then from 18 to 20, that's 2 hours. So that's 4 hours plus 4 hours plus 2 hours will give you the 10-hour work week. Now, this is something very important. The company disregards any time before 8 a.m. So if you go into work at 7:55, at 7:20 in the morning, whatever it is, you will not get paid. You need to go in at 8 a.m. The company will start paying you at 8 in the morning. So the company disregards any time you work before 8. So you should be working starting at 8 a.m. And it also disregards any time between 12 to 12:30 and between 16:30 and 18. Okay? And it permits employees to ring up to 10 minutes late before making any deductions for tardiness. So if an employee is tardy, they can arrive up to 10 minutes late without being affected. If they arrive more than 10 minutes late, they're going to have a deduction made to the nearest 1/4 of an hour for workers who are more than 10 minutes late ringing in. Okay. Now in this problem, we are required to calculate the total daily hours, the daily total hours worked, the total hours for the week, the regular weekly earnings, the overtime earnings, rounded to 3 decimal places, and the total weekly earnings. Okay. So let's get our calculations going. Now, what's the difference between the continental and our regular system? Here in the United States, well, we clock in based on like 12 hours and 12 hours. So we go from 1 to 12. So if we go into work at 8 in the morning, we usually work from 8 to 12, and then we start back at 1. Okay, so then it's 1 through 12. Okay, in the continental system, we use the 24-hour time. Okay, so if you work in the afternoon, we're in the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16 digits. Okay, so I just decided to include this here just for reference. So for example, when we say that we work from 1630 to 1800, so 16 would be basically 1630 would be 4:30 to 6 p.m. Okay, from 1630 to 18 will be from 4:30 to 6 p.m. Okay, so it's just so we can know for reference. Okay, so the first thing that we need to calculate is the daily total hours. So this employee worked Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Okay, and here we have the hourly rate. This employee gets paid $10.45 an hour, and the overtime rate is 15.675. Okay, and that is the overtime earnings using the 3 decimal places provided on the overtime rate. Okay, because we have to use that number provided. Okay, so they're not asking us to round. In this case, they're asking us to use whatever is provided. So let's start with Tuesday. Okay, and we're going to start from the bottom up because this is the morning, afternoon, and evening. Okay, so the employee worked from 7:55 to 12. The instructions say that if you clock in before 8, you will not get paid. So it's from 8 to 12. Okay, so on that day in the morning, that's 4 hours. Okay, in the afternoon, from 12:30 to 16:30, that's 12:30, 13:30, 14:30, 15:30, and 16:30. That's 4 hours. Okay, and in the evening, they clocked in at 18:01 and left at 20:02. Now, the instructions say that the company disregards any time before. Okay, before 16:30 and 18:30. So in this case, um, the particular employee clocked in a minute late, okay, and clocked out 2 minutes late, okay. So it says the company disregards any time between those hours provided and permits employees to ring in up to 10 minutes late before any deductions are made. So the employee did not clock out 10 minutes late or early, and it disregards anything after 20. So those 2 minutes are gone because you should have clocked out at 20, which is 20 would be at 8 p.m. Okay. And you clocked in 1 minute late, they're not going to penalize you for a minute. So that's from 18 to 20, that'll be 4. Remember, in order to be penalized, it has to be 10 minutes different or being late from you clocking in. So for the Tuesday, the employee worked, okay, and wait, let me make a correction. On the evening, it's not 4 hours. It's from 18 to 20, that's 18, 19, 20, that's 2 hours, okay? From 18 to 20, it's 2 hours. So now I can get my total. And that would be 10 hours, okay, for Tuesday. On Wednesday, the employee clocked in at 7:50 and clocked out at 12:02, okay? So the employee clocked in exactly 10 minutes early, okay, because they clocked in early. That time is going to be disregarded, okay? We don't pay anything before 8. So if you clock in before 8, that time is not paid. And you clocked out at 12:02. You clocked out 2 minutes late. That time is disregarded as well. So that's 4 hours. You clocked in at 12:31, clocked out at 16:31. The difference is just a minute, and that time is disregarded between the different times that provided here. That'll be 4 hours. Okay. On the evening, you clocked in 9 minutes late, okay, which is still below the 10-minute mark. You clocked in at 18:09. You should have clocked in at 18. You're 9 minutes late. They're going to go ahead and they're going to forgive you for that because there's a 10-minute threshold here. And you clocked out at 20:01. So that will give you 2 hours, okay? So that will be 10 hours. Now let's look on Thursday. On Thursday, we have a problem. On Thursday, the employee clocked in at 8:13 when they should have clocked in at 8. They were 13 minutes late. Right here, 13 minutes late on Thursday. We have to deduct 1/4 of an hour, okay? So, usually the employee works 4 hours. In this case, we're going to deduct 0.25. So that means that the employee is only going to earn 3.75 hours. Why? Because they were deducted 0.25, 1/4, if you get the calculator, 1/4 is 0.25. So I'm going to deduct 0.25 from Thursday morning because the employee was 13 minutes late, okay? For the afternoon, from 12:30 to 16:30, that's 4 hours. In the evening, he clocked in 2 minutes late, which is fine. We disregard those 2 minutes. And he clocked out 5 minutes late. That is fine. We're going to disregard. It says here you disregard anything between 18 to 20. So the employee worked 2 hours in the evening. So for Thursday, the employee worked 9.75 hours. Why? Because he was penalized for that 13 minutes that he arrived late, or it's a Sue. She arrived 13 minutes late. That means that she got deducted 1/4 of an hour, okay? On Friday, Sue gets in at 7:59 and clocks out at 12:03. These amounts or differences are permittable. You know, if you clock in early, you don't get paid. You're aware of that. And they clocked out 3 minutes late. That time is going to be disregarded. That's 4 hours for the morning. In the afternoon, the employee clocked out at 12:38. They should have clocked out at 12:30. That's 8 minutes late. So that's fine. And then he clocked out at he clocked in at 12:38, and then he clocked out at 16:35. That's just a 5-minute difference. So we're good with that. So then that's going to be 4 hours. And in the afternoon from 18 to 20, that's 2 hours. Okay. On Saturday, the employee worked from 8 to 12 in the morning. So that would be 4 hours. they clocked out a minute late, that is not going to be paid because they should have clocked out at 12. So that would be just 4 hours. Okay. So these are the amount of hours worked each day. And the only adjustment is even provided to you in the problem. The only adjustment is that 13-minute late that was done on Thursday. That was the only day that the employee was late more than 10 minutes. All of the other adjustments are between the times, and it says here that the working hours each day, and that the company disregards any time between these times, and permits employees to ring up to 10 minutes late before any deductions are made for tardiness. So no other major adjustment is needed, with the exception of that time that Sue arrived 13 minutes late and was penalized 0.25. Okay. Now that we have these numbers, I can get the total hours for the week. So I'm going to add all of these amounts. Okay. And that gives me 43.75 hours. That is how many hours Sue worked for that specific week. Okay. Now we're going to get the regular weekly earnings. Okay. My regular weekly earnings are 40 hours. I'm going to get my 40 hours, and I'm going to multiply by my rate, and your hourly rate given is $10.45. Okay. Let me go ahead and right here it says HR rate $10.45. Okay. $10.45. That's where I'm getting the rate from. $10.45. So that gives me $418. Okay. Okay. Now the overtime earnings. And it says round rate to 3 decimal places. They're asking us to use the full rate given. Okay. And the rate given is 15.675. And that is the number that we are going to use. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get, well, how many hours do we have of overtime? We have 3.75 hours of overtime, and I'm going to multiply it by 15.675. Okay. That gives me 58.78125. I want that number rounded to 2 decimal places. Okay, so I'm going to do round. Okay, so I'm going to round, open parentheses, close parentheses, and I'm going to round to 2 decimal places. Okay, so that would be 58.78. Okay, so you can round just in your head. What did we do? Well, we got overtime hours. We have 3.75 overtime hours. My rate is 15.675. That gives me 58.78125. You look at that third digit, that's a 1. Because it's a 1, we're going to keep it at 58.78. If that number would have been a 5 or greater, then we would have rounded up. But that's not the case, so we keep it at 58.78. Okay? So the total weekly earnings, that is going to be your regular weekly earnings of 418 plus your overtime earnings of 58.78. That will give you your total weekly earnings of 476.78. Okay, this is how much Sue made this specific week. Sue worked 3.75 hours over the 40. Okay, the hourly rate and the overtime rate are provided. Make sure that you use those rates, and make sure that you break down your weekly calculations for the hours worked. I did it here by morning, afternoon, and evening. That way I can see the breakdown. So the employee should be working 10-hour days. In this case, the employee worked on Saturday, using overtime. Okay, and the employee was tardy 1 day, which was on Thursday, causing her not to put in the 10 hours, but rather 9.75 hours, because she was docked 0.25 hours because she was 13 minutes late. Okay, so make sure that you analyze the time card, how to read it. This is going up from down, up. Okay, make sure that you understand the times that are going to be included and excluded from the calculations. Okay, and that is basically it for this problem. Take it a step at a time. Read the instructions carefully so you understand what needs to be deducted and by when. For example, in this case, it's 10 minutes late. So your problems can have 15 minutes late, 13 minutes late, whatever the case might be. That can change. So make sure you analyze the information, you break it down, and then you run your numbers. Okay? So that is basically it for problem 210A. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Have a wonderful day.